It is Tuesday, September 2nd. This is the Planning Commission called meeting. We do have a quorum present. Please let the record show that Mr. Travis Parr and Mr. Curtis Mullins are absent, but the rest of the members are here. So pick up on unfinished business. We have a special use permit 2025-05. This was an item we took up last week. It was last week, wasn't it? At our Planning Commission regular scheduled meeting. This item was tabled, as was the second unfinished business. We will need a motion to remove the item number 1 off the table. In a second, please.
I motion to remove the item number 1 off the table, please.
I second the motion.
All right, we got a motion to remove and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. So for any of those that are in the audience and watching on streaming service, we will not have a public hearing, as the public hearing was conducted last week. So this item on unfinished business is just to talk about the specifics that the applicant was able to submit to us for our consideration in this request. Cody, if you'll introduce the item and bring us up to speed on what was submitted, please.
All right, so this special use request is pertaining to parcels SC 210010DP, SC 210001, and SC 21002. The special use request is to allow for a data center development under light industrial zoning. Under section 2.3.1 of the UDC, data centers are only allowed outright in heavy industrial zoning. However, special use approval may be granted to allow the use under light industrial zoning as well. The applicant has submitted an updated site plan, Exhibit A, which shows that the data center would be constructed across 3 separate tracts of land totaling approximately 235 acres and consist of approximately 5 buildings and 1 proposed electrical substation along with 2 retention ponds. The updated site plan also shows 3 ingresses and egresses along Social Circle Parkway and Fairplay Road. Maximum impervious surface for light industrial zoning is typically 40%. However, due to this falling within the Watershed Protection Overlay District, the impervious surface ratio allowed, the maximum ISR allowed is 25%. Under our section 5.3 of our UDC, we do not allow a variance for ISR. Therefore, the applicant would be hard stuck to a 25% ISR. However, all of that would be the buffer, access management requirements, all of that would be addressed during the development review phase of the project. There is water availability along Fairplay Road, as well as a sewer lift station at the intersection of Social Circle Parkway and Fairplay and Roy Malcolm Road. There are currently no stormwater or drainage issues in the area. But again, as mentioned, with it being in the watershed protection, there are certain additional requirements that they will have to meet. The applicant has indicated that their proposed operations would begin in 2028 with a phased ramp up and water usage to support cooling and technology infrastructure. They've provided a letter that is in your packets as part of their application for this as well that go more into detail with that. With that, their approximate daily water usage is anticipated to be 50,000 gallons a day, with gradual increases over the following years, up to an eventual peak usage of 3 million gallons per day. The applicant also provided a letter from Georgia Power indicating Georgia Power's willingness to work with them to obtain the megawatt usage that they would need for this project as well, and I've also added that to your applications. Staff has given the recommendation of approval for the special use for these 3 mentioned parcels.
Thank you, Cody. Mr. Wallstad, as the applicant, is there anything you'd like to add to this? I know I've got questions. Other members may have questions as well.
No, I deliver what I
Okay.
was asked to do.
All right. Just for clarification on this item, it's a total of 235 acres, correct?
That's
On all 3 parcels, if you combined it?
yes, total
Okay.
total combined it goes to 35.
And the the developable acres of that, because it's in the watershed protection, is 58.75 acres roughly.
Okay.
You're going to be able to get 2.5 million square feet of building and infrastructure supporting those buildings on
Yeah, I think,
58 acres.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's achievable.
Okay. The water letter was a little different. I'm more worried about not necessarily the ramp up and over time. Who's the water coming from? I don't think Social Circle has. This is 2028. We're in 2025. Things could change quite significantly in 3 years.
Yeah.
But I don't think we have 50,000 gallons a day of water available for a data center. I could be wrong, but where's the water coming from?
So, we have discussed with Walton County and City of Monroe about providing us with water coming down Highway 11. I know it stops up there at a certain point. That's one of the potential sources for what would be raw water. Our intention is to use the gray water potentially coming out of the back of, the sewer plant to the south of us.
Before it's discharged back into the
There's a
basin.
recycle situation where you could recycle up to 6 times associated with it before having to dump it back in the basin. So
Okay.
our gray water use, I think, was at like 75%, and of course, that's on a open loop system. All the chips and stuff are going closed loop, so, you know, by the time it goes in there, it could be a lot less water usage.
Okay. That's one of my main concerns is the availability of water, because like I said last week, in the peak heat season,
Yep.
it's not the data end user that's going to be requested to cut back. It's going to be us homeowners. So I
Yeah,
appreciate
no,
that.
I understand.
On your site plan, thank you for updating it. Where's the anticipated generator pads for these buildings?
You've got substations to the north side,
Yep.
and that's where the substation would occur.
So
We
you wouldn't set your generators individually on switches beside the building? It would be
Not-
at the,
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I mean, the switch yard is up there. I mean, the power's covered for Georgia Power from that side, so
Okay.
there aren't, I mean, I know there are gonna be some, not diesel generators there, but that's,
natural gas usually.
yeah, but I don't think it's not our main source of power, so it
Yeah.
would be just a backup generator for it.
Okay. Couldn't tell by the site plan. How many total parking spaces are you proposing per building?
I don't know, whatever was drawn on, I don't know what it says. This was literally given to us like the morning of the last meeting,
week. Yeah.
so.
Okay. All right. Would you have any heartburn if conditions were recommended for things like that?
I think the more conditions you put on it, the more constraint, I mean, it adds to the whole overall project, but, you know, if y'all want to recommend conditions, you can. I think that those will have to be, my end user's gonna have to put up with them, so if
Yep.
y'all recommend them, then it's gonna have to be something that they have to deal with.
Okay. Any other questions that any other commission members have of Mr. Wallstad?
You mentioned, I do have one. You mentioned the technology of the water and moving into the closed loop systems.
Yes.
Looking on your site plan, you've got 2 retention ponds. Is there any plan to use any of that as part of your
Not at this
reclamation?
time.
Okay,
Not from a reclamation standpoint, not at this time. It would go back in the sewer, back to the main plant to be discharged.
okay.
And I know that we're gonna have to work with y'all on development plans and all that sort of other stuff, so I think, you know, you're talking about constraints and conditions. I mean, I think there's still a lot of work to be done on getting final development plans and all that sort of stuff. This is really just to get it so it's zoned so that we can start all those other conversations.
Yeah, so you can finalize your contract
Yeah.
and user, absolutely.
Yeah,
Is this a,
So I think the more that you potentially
Yeah.
constrain it here on the front end of this whole thing, then it's gonna, anyway, that's just my whole
Understand.
idea of where we stand now.
understand?
Okay.
All right, thank you. So as some of the things we heard last week, and the applicant was quick to provide us the information that we requested. Some of the things that I've got concerns with, but on this application, kind of take care of themselves, being that if you combine all three parcels together, and that's even the one on the east side of the bypass, you have 235 acres. Well, in that watershed protection, only 25% of it can be impervious. That tells me, simple math, it's 58 acres that he can develop on. One of the concerns we heard last week was the concern of the resident, Mr. Waters, that backs up to that parcel on the east side of the bypass. And looking at the site plan, there is a 200-foot buffer that Cody confirmed with me that is required for the development because of the differential zoning districts. I was thinking, would there be a need for additional buffer against that residential? I don't see that need because, again, as only 58 acres can be developed, you're not going to go spend a whole bunch of money to develop land that you can't build upon and use. So I'm not so concerned the need for the added buffer in that capacity. On the west side of the bypass, he has state waters in the form of streams, and that carries a buffer as well, and he cannot get into and disturb those without a Corps engineer permit to do so. And it looks like he's doing his best to stay out of it on the site plan, so I'm not so concerned about buffer from the centers themselves there. But I do have some conditions that I would like to talk about and maybe have this commission consider. Very similar to the conditions that we discussed on the data center that came before us down at Highway 11 and I-20. And that's a maximum parking space of 35 spaces per building. Data centers are not big end users of employees, or they certainly don't have customers coming to them. The less impervious area, the better off, especially in the watershed protection area. Lighting, so wall packs and exterior lighting mounted on buildings shall only be placed above entrances. It shall be full cutoff fixtures, downlighting so as not to cast light or glare towards property lines or streets, and shall not be used for general site lighting. Parking lot lights, if they have them, shall be no taller than 20 foot. Full cutoff fixtures and not cast light or glare towards property lines or streets. Again, if provided, a photometric plan to be provided to staff upon submittal of the LDP, the no more than 7-foot candles at the base of each light. The power substation you see is tucked away right there, is the closest to any road that would have any impact on visibility. I would suggest that a substation and generator shall be screened from view from all sides facing a property line or adjacent street. Screening shall be with a dense evergreen hedge that provides an opaque visual buffer. Said hedge shall be no less than 12 foot in height at the time of planting. All utility extensions, being water, sewer, fiber, electrical, etc., and public infrastructure improvement costs shall be the responsibility of the developer and not of the city or the taxpayers or ratepayers. For the cooling method, we talked a lot about cooling method of the data centers themselves. I would strongly recommend that the evaporative cooling systems are prohibited. There may be new technology in the next 3 years that's more efficient, more water conservation minded than loop system, but I would just prohibit evaporative cooling methods. And then the rooftop mechanical units on each building shall be screened on all sides by either a building parapet wall or a screen wall around the individual units. That way, as you're driving down the bypass, you don't see large mechanical units sitting on top of rather large buildings to begin with. But those are just a few of the things that I saw in a quick 15-minute discussion with Cody that had some concern. I don't think any of them are too much of a crux on the developer, but that's just some of the things that I've thought of to help minimize any negative impact or mitigate any externalities that we may see due to this development. Any thoughts from the other members?
I say make a motion with the, couple of amendments which you just mentioned.
Okay, is that a motion to recommend mayor and council to approve the requested special use permit with those conditions?
Yes.
All those conditions.
Okay. That is a motion to approve, recommend approval with those conditions. Is there a second?
And second,
All right, there's a second. Before we call for vote, any discussion, anything else? Mr. Gardner?
What is the, I'm trying to remember, what is the typical, road frontage buffer?
I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. So for light industrial uses in general, if it abuts what is considered a vulnerable use, such as residential things like that, it's a 200-foot buffer. Now, if it's for just for road frontage,
Yeah, what's the
I believe it's, I don't know off the top of my head, and I don't want to say the wrong number. No, it's much less. I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Okay, anything else? Any other discussion?
But just to note, as I mentioned previously, buffers, parking requirements, pervious surface ratio, buffers as it pertains to state waters, all those things are looked at when they submit their civil site plan review. Our engineers look at it, our public works director looks at it, fire looks at it. Everybody looks at it in comparison to what our UDC is to make sure that it lines up with those. And if for any reason it doesn't, then we always send notes back to say, hey, here's what you're missing on and things of that nature.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. All right, that motion passes unanimously. The next item is a special use permit 2025-06. Could I get a motion to take this off the table, please?
I'll make
All right.
second, remove it from the table.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Motion made by John, second by Adolphus to remove off the table. All those in favor, raise your hand. All right, thank you. Cody, would you mind walking us through the submitted items on this request?
All right, so this special use request is pertaining to 1279 Cannon Drive, also known as tax parcel 0132001E, and 0 Mill Road, also known as tax parcels S133001 and S133005A. The request is to allow for a data center to be developed under light industrial zoning. Mentioned earlier, data centers are only allowed outright in heavy industrial zoning districts, but special use approval may be granted to allow them under light industrial zoning. As shown on the updated site plan provided, the development would be constructed across the 3 tracts of land totaling approximately 268 acres. Would consist of 5 separate buildings, 1 electrical substation, and 3 retention ponds. This area does not fall within the watershed protection, therefore it would fall under, the impervious surface ratio would just fall under that is required by the zoning district itself, which is 40%. Again, ISR, buffer, land development, parking, stormwater requirements, all of those things are reviewed and addressed during the civil site plan review. Exhibit A also shows emergency ingress and egress along Cannon and Hancock Drive, as well as future roadway extending from US Highway 278 towards Social Circle Road and Highway 11. The applicant has indicated in their application that they remain in continuous contact with Newton County and engineers to secure access from US Highway 278 for this roadway. Again, the ingresses and egresses along Cannon and Hancock Drive are intended to be emergency access only. While there is a 10-inch water main from the city in the vicinity of the proposed development, this area is under I guess you'd say, jurisdiction of the Newton County Water and Sewer Authority as far as being the service provider for the area. The city doesn't offer natural gas currently in the area, but I believe Covington Gas is the provider for this area as well. Applicants indicated that their proposed operations will begin in 2028 with a phased ramp up in water usage to support cooling and technology infrastructure. Their approximate daily water usage is anticipated to be 50,000 gallons a day, with gradual increases over the following years, up to a peak usage of 3 million per day. So, also provided in your packets is that letter, as well as the letter from Georgia Power, also stating that they would be willing to work with the developer to reach the megawatt usage that is being requested for this development as well. Staff recommended approval of the request for special use for the 3 previously mentioned parcels.
Any questions of Cody? Mr. Wallstad, would you like to give an update on this one? Pretty simple.
Same, yeah, we're at the same kind of position that we were with the other one, from that standpoint. I have, since I submitted all that information on Friday, we have had some more further conversations with Newton County and their water, provided gray water specifically, so.
Your site plan is a little different. You're not showing connectivity to the Newton County IDA road.
Yep, obviously, yeah, there would be a road that would access the side of it over there from that side.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, it just, did you get any clarification from Sarah when their timeline for that construction will be?
Not any clarification from Sarah yet. I know that there's some other tensions that are sitting on the
Are
other
there?
side.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Okay. So if this is approved, you could be held up and waiting on Newton IDA?
I don't think held up waiting on Newton IDA. Our discussions have always been that there was gonna be a road through there, so, you know, it's kind of still one piece of the process that I
Yeah.
need to get to where I can start my,
So you can start pushing them to, hey, what's the status of this road construction, so you can tie in?
yeah. And we will be required to pay for the road from wherever
From-
she ends.
Yep, from your
through
property
her-
line, yeah.
Yeah, through,
Makes
well,
sense.
for the crossing and engineering and all that sort of other stuff. That's where our discussions have basically gotten.
Gotcha. And you said Thomas and Hutton had already done a lot of that engineering?
A lot of it.
That's good. Okay.
So-
Any other questions?
I have a question. You said Cody said during the peak usage is 3 million gallons a day?
Yeah, so that's on an open circuit where you're basically using air cooled. That's basically you're just burning water to cool with through the evaporative standpoint. Technology's changed so quick, but that's kind of where end user at this time was, you know, what they're currently looking at. But current chips now are being manufactured for internal cooling, basically like a radiator through the chip, and it's a lot less. And I think personally in the next 3 years with the technology out there that water is not going to be an issue. We heard that today from our end user, but I think that, I mean, the technology is so quick. I mean, we've got 250, 300 square foot buildings, but it could be smaller than that too, so. And again, this is in Newton County Water Service District.
Yep.
So we have had the conversations with them already this week about how much they got available gray water and all that other sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm familiar that they have identified their limitations on data center providers. I think they've said, 5 other campuses, or total of 5 that they can supply, but that's throughout their entire distribution network. So obviously if you're one of the first ones and you're right there at it, you've got the capacity. They've got the utility.
Yeah, we've sat down with them and had that conversation multiple times, so,
Okay.
as of yesterday, so.
Dang, on Labor Day.
Well, phone call, but anyway.
Understood, yeah.
With the water group, so.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
And like the other one that's at unlike the other one, 25% of the site can be developed. That's leaves it down to 107 roughly acres that can be developed.
It's 40% of the site.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at 268 total acres, you got 40%. So that's at least he's got some developable area. He does have some challenges with streams and creeks, state waters and buffers of that nature, and some wetlands, it looks like. But I would propose to identify some of those same conditions, one being the parking maximum at 35 per building, the lighting on the wall packs, please consider that, bless you. Parking lot lighting if provided, the same language. The location that is shown on the site plan for the substation, power substation, I don't see the need for buffering around that for visibility unless that substation were to relocate closer to Cannon Drive. And then, again, the same thing, all utilities, water, sewer, fiber, electrical, and public infrastructure improvements shall be the cost of the developer and not to any ratepayer or taxpayer. Same thing with the cooling system, evaporative cooling methods are prohibited. That way, as technology changes, it's not just limited to one type. And those would be the same conditions I would ask of you guys to consider.
I'd like to add one being, and I think I mentioned it prior to, was the emergency egress off of Cannon
Okay. So Cannon shall only be used as emergency access.
as well for the
Okay.
construction phase of it,
All right, no construction activity off Cannon?
only under emergency situation.
Okay. All right. Are there any other discussions, questions, comments from other members? Okay. If not, Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion. A motion to approve it with conditions which will be listed.
Okay.
Okay, and instead of me reading them all out, you already have that.
Those conditions that I
Yes.
suggested and the one that Mr.
And-
Gardner.
And add the one that he
Okay.
just added,
Okay.
the emergency situation.
All right. We have a motion on the floor to recommend the mayor and council approve the special use permit 2025-06 with conditions as previously stated. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. We have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the recommendation, please signify by raising your hands. All right, motion passes unanimously. Okay. At this time, we have no other business, so the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion made by John, second by Signora. All those in favor, raise your hand.